Live from the BDN Studios, it's Bang and Dang.
That's awesome.
If you don't like that, then
You ain't black.
Welcome back to Outlaws and Gunslingers Mafia Edition as we are set to wrap up the Bonanno crime family with the one and only Joseph Pistone, a.k.a. Donnie Brasco, who almost costed the whole Bonanno family, the family ship. But he did cost some lives because of it. Go check out our YouTube at Bang Dang Network. Post shorts, clips, exclusive Dart League over there as well. Give us a subscription. Or if you listen on the old podcast, Spotify or Apple, give us a review as we wrap up the Bonanno crime family and move on to the Gambinos after this. And we all know who's the Gambinos famous on. I actually found a good story on old Joey Pistone.
Oh.
So, nice little story on this guy.
Ain't that nice?
I like it. Good stuff.
Fantastic.
I have an interview from him from a newspaper in like 2021. So good stuff here. Joseph Dominic Pistone was born September 17, 1939. He's a former FBI agent who worked undercover as Donnie Brasco between September 76 and July of 81. It was part of an infiltration primarily into the Bonanno crime family and to a lesser extent the Colombos. He was born in 1939 in Erie, Pennsylvania. He's of Calabrian and Sicilian heritage and grew up in Patterson, New Jersey, where he attended Eastside High. He attended Patterson State College, which is now William Patterson University, obtaining a degree in anthropology in 1965.
Fantastic.
That was anthropology. Scientific study of humanity, human behavior, biology. Okay, right. Also, he was probably like a master manipulator, too, with those mafioso guys.
Right. He worked for a year as a teacher at Patterson School, number 10, and at the Office of Naval Intelligence for 3 years before being sworn into the FBI on the 7th of July, 1969, and assigned to Jacksonville, Florida. The year 1974, he was transferred to New York to work in the truck and hijack unit. Because of his ability to drive 18-wheeler trucks and bulldozers, he eventually given undercover work infiltrating a vehicle theft ring, and then an assignment that resulted over 30 arrests and a greater profile for Pistone within law enforcement. Look at that.
Well, because of that, in the spring of 1976, he volunteered to infiltrate the Bonanno crime family.
He's like, I'll do it.
A job for which his fluency in Italian, Sicilian heritage, and the knowledge of mafia idiosyncrasies gleaned from his Patterson background were well suited. For the undercover operation, the false identity of Donnie Brasco was created, with a backstory that involved work as a low-level jewel thief. After extensive preparation, including FBI gemology courses, he went undercover as a jewel thief. Oh, I'm sure the mafia was like, jewels, huh?
Jewels, you say? The operation was given the code name Sun Apple, after locations of its two simultaneous operations, which is in Miami, called it Sunny Miami, and New York City, the Big Apple. After months of planning, September 1976, Donnie Brasco started his undercover operation. An operation that was initially intended to last for about 6 months turned into several years. This dude forgot who he was.
I wonder about how much part of him,
Loved it.
thought, damn, do I even go back to the FBI after this?
All of it, but then he knew he can die at any minute. Right. The FBI erased Pistone's name on office rolls and his personal file as well. Anyone who called asking for him would be told that no one by that name was employed there.
They're like, damn, I just talked to him last week.
Right.
His co-workers, friends, and informants had no idea what had happened to him. The original focus of the operation was to infiltrate big-time fences and truck hijackings that would in turn lead to the mafia. While Pistone was undercover, he informed on the activities of the mafia during some of the most volatile power struggles and organized crime. He did, too.
Dude, and he had to do some unthinkable things. You got to.
Think there's things that he didn't tell the FBI about?
Oh, dude.
I'm sure there was.
There has to be. I mean, you can't charge him with anything, though, right?
Well, as far as I know, he didn't commit murder, but I'm sure he beat the shit out of some people.
I mean, I guess even you would have to commit murder.
Well,
there's no way.
We'll see, won't we?
Pistone worked his way into becoming an associate in Gilly Greca's crew from the Colombo family that was primarily involved in hijacking and robberies. After about 6 months, Pistone shifted to the Bonanno family by developing a relationship with Anthony Mira. When Mira was sent to prison, Pistone was tutored in the ways of the mafia by Bonanno soldier Benjamin Lefty Ruggiero, whose captain was Mike Mimi Sabella. Old Lefty Ruggiero, in my mind, was the ultimate wise guy. His whole life was consumed by being a wise guy. by being a member of the mafia. Once I got to know Lefty pretty good, and he got to the point where he trusted me and would talk around me and take me into his confidence regarding the mafia business and who was who and what was going on. He got the impression that I had the ability to make a lot of money for him. That's what old Donnie said.
That's what he says. On an average day, it would start out with checking in with Ruggiero, who was Brasco's captain, obviously, and then hanging out in a bar or nightclub trying to think of new ways to make money or advancing up the mafia ladder.
Damn right.
Brasco always worked with the same people, never asked what other members were doing or even who they were.
Nope.
Too many questions were viewed with great suspicion, and this rule complicated his undercover role and contributed to its longevity.
Yeah, everybody knows you don't ask questions.
Know your role, shut your mouth, and do what you're told.
During his time undercover, old Brasco was ordered to commit 4 contract killings. There was no question of refusal, so Brasco would either manipulate himself out of the hit at a later date, or if that proved too difficult, the FBI would stage a fake killing.
You arrest the guy and act like he'd been killed or something?
Right. And arrest him for murder or something, and put him in like witness or something.
Who, Brasco?
No, the other guy.
Oh, right.
That they're gonna kill.
Right. Or like, hey, they're gonna whack your ass, so you better shut your fucking mouth, and you're coming with us.
Right. He was able to see his wife Maggie and their 3 daughters once every 3 or 4 months for a day on average. Discussing the outlines or ramifications of the case would have been a breach of security, so his family had no idea what he was doing, which took a tremendous toll on the relationship.
Yeah, I bet.
Right. She's like, why can't you just tell me?
That's in the movie. By 1978, New York City was close to declaring bankruptcy.
Oh.
Times were tough even for the mob, which Pistone and the FBI exploited. Pistone convinced Ruggiero to form a business arrangement with Frank Bellistieri, who was the head of the mob in Milwaukee. The FBI had another agent undercover using the pseudonym Tony Conte inside the Milwaukee mob who needed some assistance.
Oh, shit. I want to hear that guy's story. Both Pistone and Conte convinced Ruggiero to go to Milwaukee to negotiate a deal with Bellistieri in a vending machine venture. Ruggiero was successful, and the ploy had effectively brought 2 crime families together.
Aww.
However, there was no condition.
Well, except for one.
However, there was one condition. Bellistieri wanted to meet Ruggiero's partner, Joseph Pistone.
But Pistone couldn't go to Milwaukee. Instead, he was at his wife's bedside after she suffered a near-fatal car accident on the way to pick him up from the airport.
Shit.
It was touch and go for 11 days, but she pulled through. Good for her. Pistone then traveled to Milwaukee to meet Bellistieri. They both hit it off.
So where did he tell the mobsters he was at for 11 days?
I don't know.
Right. Like, dude, where in the hell were you at for the last week and a half? Shit's been going down.
I was out of fucking town, right?
Like, dude, you wanted me, that plan you wanted to do was going through, but where in the hell are you at? It's like, shit.
Well, but then disaster struck.
Oh.
Weeks went by, and Ruggiero and Pistone hadn't heard from the Milwaukee boss. They tried calling, but Bellistieri never returned their calls. Something had happened.
Oh, no. Well, Bellistieri had, in fact, discovered that Conte was an FBI informant, but did not bother to inform the Bonanno bosses or Ruggiero. Whoa. With the deal gone south, the Bonanno bosses were looking for someone to blame. This was a big mistake for Pistone, one that potentially carried the penalty of death. Both Ruggiero and Pistone were summoned for a sit-down with Bonanno bosses. Because Pistone wasn't a made man, he was let off, and Ruggiero was put on notice.
Yeah, for him and Pistone's actions.
Right.
Over the next few months, both men avoided the Bonanno bosses. So the FBI sent Pistone to Florida, where he helped another undercover operation designed to bring down Santo Trepacante, who was the head of the Florida mob. Ruggiero followed months later. While Pistone was in Florida, Bonanno boss Carmine Galante was murdered in the courtyard of a Brooklyn restaurant.
Uh-oh.
His body was found with his trademark cigar still clenched between his teeth.
Remember that?
Sure do.
Oh, my goodness. Without a leader, the Bonanno family almost fell into anarchy. Lower in the ranks, there was a change in leadership for Ruggiero and Pistone. Their captain had been demoted in the wake of the Milwaukee debacle, and they now reported to Dominique Sonny Black Napolitano. In Florida, Joseph Pistone convinced Ruggiero, with Black's approval, to purchase a nightclub. The FBI had purchased the building months earlier, and it now became the perfect location to engineer a meeting between the Bonanno and Trevacante families. Now in 1979, Pistone had entered the 4th year undercover, along with fellow undercover agent Edgar Robb. They had the club renovated, installing listening devices and cameras behind the walls. Oh, man.
Oh, shit. The club became the center for loan sharking, fencing stolen property, sports betting, and a planned Las Vegas gambling night. Black, who was pleased with the business, offered Trevacante part of the operation. he accepted.
Damn right he did.
Not only was it a potential cash cow, but his men did not have to be involved in the day-to-day running of the operation.
No.
So he's just getting cash, and he's like, whatever, they get busted, they get busted.
Right.
Not coming back to us.
Right. Well, January 1981, night of the Las Vegas function. The police raided Knight's Court, seized thousands in cash, and charged Black and undercover Agent Rob with resisting arrest. Black was furious and threatened to kill Agent Rob. It took a while, but eventually he calmed down.
Okay.
Both were set to appear in court until the FBI intervened and had the trial shut down, as Black still had a bigger part to play in Pistone's undercover
They're
operation.
like, whoa, hold on
Wait a
here,
minute.
man.
Who even authorized this damn raid?
This shit should have gone. Well, that's the FBI's own fault, anyways, dummies. King's Court, as it actually is. So whoever we got this info from was wrong. Apparently, not Knight's Court was still bringing in a healthy turnover from loan sharking and bookmaking. So, despite the raid, Black told Rob and Pistone he would recommend their membership to the mafia to his superiors. Nice. Now,
And Black wanted to murder Rob not too long ago.
Right, because he thought he killed the business.
All right.
Now in his 6th year undercover in the mob, Pistone had already gone deeper into the mafia than any undercover agent.
You ain't kidding.
But his success faced a potentially fatal blow. His first mafia mentor, Tony Mira, had just been released from prison. Almost immediately, Mira discovered that Pistone was making a lot of money under Black.
Well, Mira then told the Bonanno bosses that he deserved a cut of Pistone's earnings because he had introduced him to the mob, which is true. Furthermore, he had lied to the bosses when he said Pistone had made $250,000 in heroin deal and had not shared the money with the family. Uh-oh. Pistone's life was in jeopardy. If found guilty, he would be moited. Pistone was not allowed to defend himself because he was not yet a full mob member. Instead, Ruggiero defended Pistone. A series of meetings were convened over a 2-month period. Holy shit, this dude had a trial for his life and he couldn't do anything about it.
Well, meanwhile, trouble was brewing within the Bonanno family ranks. Black was promoted to underboss, which put him second in command, only to the Bonanno family boss, who was Rusty Rastelli.
Hey.
Phil Rastelli, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, 3 rebel capos planned to kill Rastelli and Black to take over the Bonanno family.
Shit.
However, Black got in first, and in April of 1981, all 3 rival capos were gunned down, and the Civil War was quickly over.
Damn right.
Thanks to Ruggiero, Pistone was exonerated, and Mira was sent back. And he's like, get the fuck out of here,
What the
Mira.
hell are you thinking? Why are you coming here being
Idiot.
a greedy son of a bitch, man? Shit. I mean, if you would have asked, we would have gave you some.
Right.
Napolitano, he later contacted Pistone, whom he hoped to make a made man. He said, will you murder Alphonse Sonny Red Indelicato, his son, Anthony Bruno, who had previously evaded death after missing in May 1981 meeting, which left Indelicato and Philip Giacone and Dominique Trinchera moited, and this guy was supposed to be there too.
Right.
He's like, this ain't no, this is going to be some Final Destination shit here. Ain't no cheating death, baby.
Not this time. Well, did he, though?
No, he didn't. He died.
The FBI then ordered the end of Pistone's operation. He said, we're in too far now. He wanted to continue until he was set to become a made man that December, for which Napolitano would lie about his making his bones, which obviously means killing somebody. So
Right.
Napolitano was like, going to lie for him, huh? Good for him.
Right.
However, Pistone's superiors decided the operation was coming too dangerous and set an end date of July 26, 1981.
Wow. 2 days after FBI pulled Brasco out of the operation, they informed Napolitano that he had been working undercover. It was not long before Napolitano's death was ordered. Oh, shit. August 17th, 1981. Accepting his fate, Napolitano gave his favorite bartender his jewelry and the keys to his apartment so that his pet pigeons could be looked after. Oh, Pistone, he received $500 bonus at the end of the operation.
Well, here's for the good work, fella.
Oh, my.
Well, shortly thereafter that, August 17th, 1981, Napolitano was murdered for having allowed an FBI agent to infiltrate the family.
Yep.
He was shot dead and his hands were cut off.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. August 12th, 1982, his body was found in a creek on Staten Island. August 30th, 1981, though, the FBI arrested Ruggiero for his own protection, which was the same day that a contract was put out on him.
Oh, shit.
He was sentenced to serve 20 years in prison, but was released on parole in 1992.
Look at that shit.
Thanksgiving Day, 1995, he died of cancer in his New York home. Damn.
Oh, he would have been murdered.
72 years old. Mira was also later killed on February 18th, 1982. So they're all done. Bye.
Jeez.
You introduced it. He was
Right.
bragging about bringing him in, and
Right.
I shouldn't have done that, old Mira. About Napolitano's fate, Pistone had stated, my intention in all this was to put people in jail, not get them killed. Well, what do you think is going to happen?
Right.
November 1982, Ruggiero, along with Nicholas Santora, Antonio Tomasulo, and Anthony Fat Tony Rabito, would be convicted in a 6-week jury trial for racketeering conspiracy, receiving a 15-year prison sentence.
Yeah, good for those guys.
Right.
Mafia put out a $500,000 contract on Pistone and kicked the Bonanno family off the commission.
Sure did.
They're like, man, you guys are just messing up left and right.
Actually saved the Bonanno family from the mafia trial,
right?
The commission trial.
FBI agents visited mafia bosses in New York and advised them not to murder Pistone. Damn. Holy shit.
Not touch him.
The contract was dropped by Paul Castellano, who headed the commission, as he thought killing a federal agent would attract too much attention. Pistone publicly testified for the very first time August 2nd, 1982. The evidence collected by Pistone led to over 200 indictments and over 100 convictions of mafia members. Although Pistone resigned from the FBI in 1986, he continued to testify when called upon, including the Pizza Connection trial.
Oh, no. While Pistone's infiltration decimated the Bonanno family, the family was consequently not a main target in the Mafia Commission trial that saw the top leadership of the 5 families sent to prison, as the Bonannos had been kicked off, obviously. By dodging this bullet, the family kept its leadership intact and was able to consolidate its power once again.
Might as well.
The boss who led that resurgence, Joseph Messino, Big Joey, who was convicted in 2004 of ordering Napolitano to be killed for allowing Pistone into the family, who subsequently was a bitch.
Right.
And turned state's evidence himself.
Dude.
Wow.
Right. Pot.
Right. Kettle. Right.
Pistone lives in an undisclosed location with his old wife Maggie and their 3 daughters. Under assumed names.
Still lives with her 3 daughters? That was fucking 40 years ago. Fucking freeloaders.
Pistone had been active as an author, consulting worldwide law enforcement agencies, including Scotland Yard.
Oh, good for him.
He's also been called to testify before the United States Senate as an expert on organized crime.
I would assume.
September year 2012, Pistone testified in Montreal of the Charbonneau Commission public inquiry into corruption as an expert witness.
All right, Pistone detailed his undercover experience in his 1988 book, Donnie Brasco, My Undercover Life in the Mafia. The book was the basis for the 1997 film, Donnie Brasco, for which Pistone worked as a technical advisor, who starred Johnny Depp as Pistone and Al Pacino as Lefty.
Hey.
It was also the basis for the short-lived 2000 television series, Falcone. Starring Jason Gedrick as Pistone, whose mob alias was changed from Donnie Brasco to Joe Falcone for legal reasons, clearly.
Joey Falcone.
Pistone Falcone. What's the dude's name in The Replacements? Falco, right?
Yeah,
Falco. Shane Falco or something like that. Pistone was a consultant on Donnie Brasco to add authenticity to the fictionalized portrayals and settings. His life was used in an episode of FBI The Untold Stories as well.
Oh. All right. Pistone revisited his experience as Donnie Brasco in his books, The Way of the Wise Guy in 2004 and Donnie Brasco, Unfinished Business, 2007, which he co-authored with Charles Brandt. Pistone wrote a novel titled The Good Guys in 2005 with Joseph Bonanno's son.
What the fuck?
Wow. No shit. With Joe Bonanno's son, Salvatore Bill Bonanno.
Oh, my gosh.
He has also written several works of fiction such as Deep Cover, Mobbed Up, and Snake Eyes. He has served as an executive producer on movies relating to the Mafia, including 2006 film 10th and Wolf. I want to watch that. And 2008, Italian artist Rosella Biscotti, she interviewed Pistone in her video, The Undercover Man. A
play based on Donnie Brasco opened at the Pennsylvania Playhouse. Good for them. Pistone is featured in the 8th episode of UK history TV channel Yesterday's documentary series, Mafia's Greatest Hit.
Okay.
Secrets of the Dead episode, Gangland Graveyard, features Pistone and his infiltration of the Mafia as part of the long-running investigation into the murder of 3 Mafia captains by Messino. He also featured prominently in the 2013 miniseries Inside the American Mob.
Okay.
He features prominently in episode 1, Staying Alive in the 70s, and is the main focus of episode 2, Operation Donnie Brasco. I would assume.
Clearly.
May 2020, Pistone started a podcast called Deep Cover, The Real Donnie Brasco.
Oh!
This fucking guy doesn't want to remain unhidden, huh?
All right. This is a little excerpt from the July 2021 UPI.com interview with old Donnie Brasco Pistone. Even today, 40 years later, the former agent cannot reveal the personal details of his life because of the dangerous nature of the operation. He's written books about the adventure, produced movies, television shows, and he worked for the State Department, where he advised foreign allies on how to fight organized crime. What we did is we proved that they could be penetrated, Pistone said, now 81. That's what he told UPI in an unspecified location due to sensitive nature of the saga. And he also went on to say, we proved that they weren't invincible.
Also, he says, what it brought out is all the intelligence. More than the criminal evidence that I gathered, there was all the intelligence against the mafia, showing the leadership in the families, family members, how they interacted with each other. Information from the initial Donnie Brasco case was provided in every affidavit in every major mob case afterward. The initial focus was hijacking, which was very prevalent, Pistone recalls. When I say hijacking, I'm talking about hijacking high-value loads, tractor-trailers filled with pharmaceuticals, coffee, high-priced food items like, say, lobsters. Damn, I bet you those lobsters fetch a pretty penny.
Yeah, that's little Sonny Grinthos. He was the coffee guy.
Okay.
I wonder who he's...
Wasn't he in Rhode Island?
Who?
Where was that show at?
What show?
New York?
Yeah, obviously.
No, why is it obvious? Could have been Rhode Island.
Around there somewhere. All these hijackings were controlled by the mafia. You couldn't do anything in New York City back in those days without getting the approval of the mob.
Yep. Including building all those pretty little size skyscrapers you see.
Exactly. He also went on to say, look, nobody ever envisioned anyone ever being able to infiltrate a mafia family other than as an informant, turning somebody within their own confines. He also says, so the premise was, well, let's go after the fences and try to find out where the loads were going or when they were going to get hijacked. It just so happened that I was lucky enough to bypass the fences and hooked up with the actual mobsters.
Yeah, those hijackers are just two big guys throwing it up to the mobsters. Well, the key to his success, Pistone says, wasn't so much his acting ability as it was the lack of a need for him to act at all. He said, I grew up in Paterson, New Jersey, which is just a blue-collar working town, and I grew up in an all-Italian neighborhood. I knew mob guys growing up, so this wasn't foreign to me. What I mean by that is there were social clubs in the neighborhood. I knew mob guys. Right. So I wasn't enamored by them or in all of them. I didn't have to put on a persona. I just really had to stay who I was.
Right. Simple as that. He said it all comes back to making money. As a jewel thief, I could bring precious gems, diamonds, watches, and stuff like that around.
All straight up from the FBI lockup.
Right. It resulted in so much valuable intelligence, he said. In the commission case, we convicted all the leaders. So that was the big blow. Don't forget the family in Milwaukee we took down. And we brought down the Traficantes in Florida. We also showed how Chicago was involved. And then we showed how families across the country were all involved in this criminal enterprise known as the American Mafia.
Dude, he ripped it wide open.
Wide open.
But the article says, if you think Pistone was happy to see the FBI when they terminated the operation, think again. He wanted to stay undercover. He says, think of the blow it would have been that they inducted a FBI undercover agent into the mafia.
Right. That's what he wanted to be a made man.
Right, dude. That would have been just like, you think only 3 guys would have been killed for it. Everybody would have been fucking done.
So Sicily would have came over and just wiped them all.
Right. They're like, we're done with you guys. We're taking over.
Right. Jeez. Even though 4 decades had passed since he took the mob task, one might wonder, is it still dangerous to be real, Donnie Brasco? He goes, yeah, it is. For instance, where I reside, my neighbors don't know who I am. I reside under another name. Nobody knows who my family are. Because since 1981, we have relocated about 5 or 6 times. Damn, he can't stay anywhere, dude.
Well, as for that mob contract on his head, Pistone told UPI in 1988, they have long memories. You can't lead your life thinking every day that somebody is going to whack you.
Right.
I take precautions, a lot of precautions. The way I travel, the way I meet people, the places I go, I just don't waltz around, but I don't constantly worry about it.
Right.
This is 1988. I think he's done a pretty good job of it so far.
I'll have to say.
And he's 81 or, 83 or something now, so I think he's all right. You need to get rid of those freeloading daughters who are still living with you.
Right. I don't think they can live anywhere else.
That might be. All right. Imagine them. They have to.
They're so pissed. They can't get married or anything.
They're never ever going to be truthful about shit because who knows? Mom might come after them after he's dead or something. Just a fucking wow. There you go. It's Joseph Pistone's.
Dude has some cojones on him.
He sure did. He still does. Dude's out with podcasts and writing books and on movie sets and shit.
Well, if the other guy can do it, he can.
Well, plus he just wrote a book with the boss's son.
Right.
I mean, I think the mob hits probably off of him by now, as many as mob guys like the Sammy the Bull does a damn podcast now talking about all that shit. So I think it's about done with who gives a shit.
What's cat's out of the bag now?
All right. Might as well fucking, who knows? These guys are probably exploiting the mafia, getting paid off of it, and kicking some back up to the big guys anyways. You know they are.
Fuck yeah, they are.
If the mafia was smart, they'd go after them anyways. But
you know they are.
You know they are. You know they are. That's a wrap up. The Bonanno family saga for us in this episode. Next up, we'll be moving on to the Gambinos. Or did we decide it was going to be the Colombos?
He's one of them.
Colombos were in 1928. Gambinos were
Early 1900s, I thought.
in the 1900s. So yeah, Brad the Gambinos. Gambinos. Oh, we never did Ignazio the Wolf Lupo. Maybe we'll do him. De Aquila. Minio. Scalisi. Mangano. Oh, we've already. Albert Anastasia. We went into his story for a while. Carlo Gambino. Paul Castellano. John Gotti. Dude, there's all like 4 famous fucking guys right in a row.
Look at all those Gottis.
Peter Gotti. John Gotti. John A. Gotti. And then the current boss, Domenico Italian Dom Cefalù. And then, well, we got an acting boss because I'm assuming this guy's in prison right now, Lorenzo Menino. We also got Angelo Ruggiero. That must be the other Ruggiero's guy, huh? Sammy the Bull. Right, Sammy the Bull's the one that put Gotti in prison. I forgot about that. You know, shit, we might be picking up on some juicy stuff coming up in this little thing, this thing of ours. Wrapped up Bonannos onto the Gambinos. And the Teflon Don, the most famous guy, John Gotti. We'll get to him soon enough. That'll do for us. YouTube at Bang Dang Network. Give us a subscription on Apple and Spotify. Give us a review, and we'll be back next week for the Gambinos. We are the month of again this week. Bang Bang.